You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome in, everyone. So we're doing something a little special today. This deep dive is custom tailored specifically for you, the learner persona.
Right, because we know you want to cut right through the noise. There is so much tech hype out there right now, and we just want to find the actual signal without the massive information overload.
Exactly. And our mission today is to make sense of a stack of late May 2026 TLDR founders' newsletters. And I have to say, looking at these sources, it reveals this completely bizarre upside-down moment in the AI era.
Oh, it really does.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at a total crisis in positioning, these wild paradoxes in tech hiring, and honestly, a scramble for authentic human connection.
Yeah, it's wild. The core contradiction that we're going to explore, the real hook here, is that the companies screaming the loudest about how, AI is replacing humans, they were quietly doubling their own human headcounts.
Which is just, well, it's the exact opposite of what they're telling the market.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this because we are looking at a massive go-to-market hiring paradox. You've got companies like Cursor, Decagon, OpenAI, like the poster children of AI automation, and they have aggressively doubled their SDR, their sales development representative headcount this year.
Yeah, they are hiring humans at an incredible clip.
While literally the rest of the market, the non-AI companies, slashed their SDR roles by 21%.
What's fascinating here is the underlying why of it all. I mean, customer support. That was actually successfully automated. The data shows support roles went down 37%. But buyers in 2026, they still demand a distinctly human touch for sales.
It's totally different when money is on the line.
Exactly. The sources note that 3 out of 5 open go-to-market roles right now are account executives or solution engineers. Because, support is rote. It's an algorithm. But enterprise sales is about trust.
Yeah, and the specific examples in the newsletters are just crazy. Look at Anthropic. They literally had to rebuild their entire sales org from scratch back in January.
Right, because they just couldn't handle the vertical growth.
Yeah, when Claude Opus 4.6 shipped, the demand was just, it broke their systems. And what's crazy is today, 54% of their new enterprise logos are self-serve.
Wait, over half?
Over half. People just swiping a credit card.
Yep.
But to actually close the big company-wide deployments, they still completely needed a human org overhaul to navigate the legal and the compliance stuff.
Which makes perfect sense, honestly. An AI agent can't sit in a boardroom and absorb legal liability. And you see this mirrored with Mark Benioff, too. He was on the 20VC show recently and just straight up admitted that the agentic era broke Salesforce's core motion.
Oh, wow. Really? The biggest SaaS company in the world?
Yeah, because customers now demand that the product works on day 30, not year 3. They don't have the patience for long, human-led implementation cycles anymore, but they still demand a human to guide them through the anxiety of the actual purchase.
Wait, so is this like the invention of the ATM?
Oh, how do you mean?
Well, I was just thinking, everyone thought ATMs would completely replace bank tellers, right? But they actually just made opening physical bank branches way cheaper, which then led to banks hiring significantly more tellers to do high-value relationship banking. Are human salespeople just the new relationship bankers?
That is a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And it brings it right back to you, the listener. If you are building or buying in this market, you have to realize that positioning matters more than ever right now.
Because the buyers are confused.
Terrified and confused. Customers are wandering into these sales calls, having no idea if a product is going to be fronted by a simple chat interface, an autonomous agent, or an actual human being. So they need that human salesperson to act as the anchor.
Right. So, okay. If rote support is completely automated by AI and sales is this hyperhuman, high-touch process who actually bridges the gap to make the AI work for the enterprise.
Yes, the missing link.
Right, which transitions us to the hottest new job title of 2026, which is the Forward Deployed Engineer, or FDE.
I love this trend. It's so counterintuitive.
It really is.
Yeah.
So for the listener, FDEs are these highly skilled elite engineers who are deployed physically on site with customers. They literally go sit in the customer's office to write custom code, deeply understand their specific problems, and then communicate the business impact back to the non-technical bosses.
They are the ultimate translation layer.
Yeah, and the sources say go-to-market engineering has doubled. There are over 400 of these open roles across U.S. digital natives, and mentions of Claude in these job posts tripled in a single quarter. But let me push back on this a bit.
Go for it.
If these AI agents are getting so insanely brilliant, why do we need expensive, highly trained FDEs physically sitting in a customer's office, like holding their hand? Shouldn't the AI just look at the enterprise system and figure out the customer's problem on its own?
It sounds like it should, right?
Yeah.
But this brings up a really critical concept from the source material. Rent the intelligence, own the context.
Rent the intelligence, own the context. I like that.
Yeah. You can rent raw, brilliant reasoning from OpenAI for pennies now. That's a commodity. But the enterprise's unique context, you can't rent that. Enterprise memory isn't just a clean database. It's made of promises, rare exceptions, and, well, institutional scars.
Scars. That's such a good way to put it.
Right. AI agents, even the really smart ones, they stall out completely when they hit an integration they can't see. They don't know the hidden rules of the company. The FDE goes in to map those scars so the AI doesn't break the business.
Wow. And this deep need for context is totally changing the tech reality of how we even search for things. The newsletters highlight how AEO, answer engine optimization, and GEO, generative engine optimization, are completely replacing traditional SEO.
Because you aren't trying to trick a Google algorithm with keywords anymore. You're trying to feed high-density context directly into a large language model.
Exactly. And inside the companies, it gets even weirder. They are using these things called skills.
Oh, the markdown files.
Yes. A skill is literally just a simple markdown text file that Claude reads to execute a task. So we have a skill for that is effectively the new we integrate with X.
It's all just plain text language now.
It is, but it scales so fast that it's actually getting absurd. Like, the newsletters point out that Intercom, which is now they just launched Fin Operator.
I saw that.
It's an AI agent whose entire literal job is just to manage their other customer-facing AI agents.
It's an AI middle manager.
Literally, it's bots managing bots. But okay, so building this intense context layer and hiring all these elite FDEs that requires a massive amount of capital, which puts insane pressure on founders.
The founder identity crisis.
Yeah, the sources describe a real founder identity crisis going on right now in hubs like SF and Shenzhen. And this brings us to the Y Combinator Winter 2026 batch.
This is a huge story.
Huge. So there were 199 companies in the batch, mostly AI, and OpenAI comes in and offers them $2 million in API credits in exchange for 2% equity at a $100 million valuation.
Which sounds like an incredible lifeline for a startup.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, this YC deal. It sounds like a casino offering you $2 million in free chips. But the catch is, the pit boss gets to stand right over your shoulder, study your exact card counting strategy, and then just play the hand themselves whenever they want.
Oh, that is so grim.
Yeah.
But it's true. They are paying for a front row seat to study these startups' best ideas. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it exposes what the newsletters call the AI subscription time bomb.
The time bomb, break that down.
Okay, so every single major AI lab is currently running at a massive loss, right?
Right, the compute is too expensive.
Exactly. So these $2 million YC credits and the incredibly cheap API costs we see today, they are heavily, heavily subsidized by venture capital.
It's monopoly money.
Essentially. And the trap is that enterprises and startups are eagerly building these complex workflows heavily dependent on this subsidized pricing. They are creating a massive trap for themselves when the prices inevitably correct upward to reflect the actual cost of compute.
Wow, so the gross margins they think they have today are basically a mirage.
A total mirage.
And that impending doom is creating a really toxic cultural fallout. We're seeing what the sources call the new startup bottleneck. Companies are shipping new features with AI so incredibly fast that they actually forget to learn from their users.
They outpace their own feedback loop.
Yeah, look at Deal. The newsletters talk about Deal's accelerate or die moment. This is a company growing 50% year over year at $1.5 billion in ARR.
Massive scale.
Massive. But they are moving so frantically that they literally had to open an internal Ghostbuster role just to cut $10 million in operational waste because things were getting so messy.
Cutting down duplicate SaaS licenses and redundant AI tools, I bet.
Exactly. And this brings up Will Manidis's critique of grindslop, which I found fascinating.
Oh, the performative suffering.
Yes. Grindslop is this genre of content where founders post about 7-day work weeks and, sleeping in the office under their desks. Manidis points out that the suffering itself is the actual product. It's just a way to justify meritocracy and their massive valuations rather than actually producing unique technological output.
Because if the AI is writing all the code, you have to prove your worth by showing how little sleep you get.
It's so bleak. So with founders trapped in this grindslop and AI agents managing other AI agents, How is the actual human consumer reacting to this hyper-digital
The
saturation?
pendulum is swinging so hard the other way.
It really is. The cultural data in the newsletters is undeniable. Pinterest search data shows that searches for analog aesthetic are up 260%,
Wow.
and dumb phone is up 150%.
People are actively trying to disconnect.
Yeah. It led to this massive phone-free Coachella activation where they used those magnetic yonder pouches, like you physically could not look at your phone. And eBay, an internet marketplace, hosted an in-person 450-piece stoop sale for Julia Fox in Tribeca.
A physical garage sale for an e-commerce giant.
Because, as the sources point out, the digital feed is infinite, but the physical room is not. But let me ask you this. So what does this all actually mean strategically? Because the sources say the company that pieces together the unstructured identity graph, like our worldviews, our jobs, our hobbies, they win the next decade of consumer software.
Right.
But if consumers actively want dumb phones and analog stoop sales, isn't that a massive contradiction? Like, how does a tech company win the identity graph if the consumer is actively rejecting tech?
This raises an important question, and it highlights a stark contrast in the source material. If you look at tech leaders like Dario Amodei from Anthropic or Demis Hassabis from Google DeepMind, they have these incredibly precise, tight numbers for CapEx and GPU scaling laws.
They know exactly how much power a data center needs in 2028.
Exactly. But when you ask them about human meaning or societal adaptation, they offer nothing but fuzzy gestures. They have an exact roadmap for the servers, but zero roadmap for the human soul.
That is so true.
And that's why the experts in the newsletters argue that products are commoditizing. The quote is, "Products are out, brains are in." When a small team can use AI to clone a complex SaaS product in a weekend, the software itself is no longer a moat.
So companies have to compete on their philosophies.
Exactly. Blunt, honest feedback and genuine human advisor relationships matter more than ever in an automated world. You are selling your worldview, not just your code.
Wow. That's powerful. Okay, let's briefly recap this journey for everyone listening.
You've covered a lot of ground.
We really have.
Yeah.
So we start with this wild paradox of AI companies aggressively hiring human salespeople. Then we moved into FDEs physically mapping corporate scars on site. We explored the subsidized startup time bomb with the YC API credits, and we ended with everyday consumers literally escaping to analog stoop sales just to feel something real.
It is a dizzying landscape, for sure. And before we go, I want to leave the listener with one final deeply unsettling thought to mull over.
Oh, I'm ready. Lay it on us.
This draws on some data from Grant Lee in the newsletters. He looked at a study of 205 failed startups.
Okay.
Out of all those dead companies, 34% of them reported having, quote-unquote, impressive traction just months before dying.
Wait, like downloads and signups?
Yes, downloads, email signups, press engagement.
How does a company with impressive traction just die a few months later?
Well, think about the era we live in now.
Yeah.
We have AI agents that can automatically scrape thousands of leads, like soak leads. We have tools like Landing Hero AI that hold automated, lifelike voice calls.
Right.
So if we are flooding the market with automated outreach, and the people receiving it are using AI to automatically screen and reply to it, how do you know if your business metrics are actually real?
Oh, no.
Right? Your dashboard shows a click, a sign up, a polite email response. The chart goes up and to the right, but there isn't a single human being on the other end.
It's literally just your AI successfully tricking someone else's AI into clicking subscribe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could raise millions of dollars in venture capital on a growth chart, completely hallucinated by machines talking to machines in an empty room.
That is absolutely terrifying, but a perfect thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the data, keep looking for the real signal, and we'll catch you next time.
Spoken Tech, for your ears.